I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
For 25 years, the National March for Life has been the nation's premier pro-life event.
I am choosing life for my baby.
Uniting hundreds of thousands of Canadians in Ottawa and around the nation who stand for life, while challenging our legislators to enact legal protection for Canada's most vulnerable.
I am deserving of assisted living, not assisted death.
On May 12th, Canadians will gather peacefully on Parliament Hill for a rally and march through the streets of Ottawa in defense of life at all stages.
I am deserving of care until my natural end.
The National March for Life.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
Because existence is always enough. Everywhere, for the past 2 years, it seemed our lives were at a standstill. Everywhere, we were trying to protect lives in the face of a pandemic. But not everywhere. While we were studying or working from home, 300 preborn lives each day were ended by abortion in Canada. In fact, abortion, the killing of an innocent child in the womb, was considered an essential service during the pandemic. It's time to re-engage for the right to life. On Wednesday, May 11th, the day before the National March for Life, young people from everywhere will make a pilgrimage to St. Mary's Church in Ottawa for I Am the Pro-Life Generation, the National March for Life Youth Summit, with keynote speakers David Scotton, whose inspirational story of adoption will be told in the new motion picture, Lifemark.
Is that your birth mom?
She wants to meet.
Really?
I'll be sharing with you a story very personal to me that I hope will inspire you to keep up your work and to keep up your efforts.
And Emily Albrecht, a speaker, writer, and coach with the Equal Rights Institute, whose talks about pro-life apologetics have been heard by thousands all over North America.
So I'll be there teaching you about the single most persuasive pro-life argument, the argument that has changed more pro-choice minds than any other argument my team has ever seen.
The afternoon will also feature dinner, praise and worship, and optional adoration and mass, followed by a candlelight procession to the vigil at the Human Rights Monument in downtown Ottawa. Register for just $20 at marchforlife.ca. It's time to re-engage. Together, we can make abortion unthinkable. Everywhere.
Welcome to Life on Film, a presentation of the 25th National March for Life in Canada. My name is Josie Luetke. I'm one of the youth coordinators for Campaign Life Coalition, and tonight's featured film is The Long Goodbye, the Kara Tippetts Story. Before I introduce our special guest for this evening, I want to go over the lineup of films that we have coming your way. Next week, on Sunday, May 1st, tune in to witness the journey to unravel the complexities of the abortion issue through science, philosophy, history, and powerful personal stories as we showcase the documentary, The Matter of Life. I will be interviewing the filmmaker, Tracy Robinson, and I promise you it will be well worth your time to tune in. And then the week following, on Sunday, May 8th, the beginning of the National March for Life week, we will be joined by Jim and Stephen Ball, director and executive producer, as we broadcast their film, The Order of Rights, the story of a pregnant single girl who has been advised by her mother to have an abortion. Despite the objection of the child's father and his promise to help her, she decides to go ahead with the procedure. However, when the child's father and his family file a lawsuit on behalf of the child's right to life, a legal battle ensues. And then lastly, on Tuesday, May 10th, we will be having an in-person invitation-only screening of Lifemark, a film by the Kendrick brothers about adoption. So as you can see, over the next couple of weeks, we have a lot to look forward to. You won't want to miss any of these remarkable films that are part of our Life on Film series as we approach the 25th National March for Life. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Jay Lyons, the director and co-producer of The Long Goodbye. Thank you very much, Jay, for joining us.
You're very welcome.
So before we start watching the film, I do want to talk a little bit about what viewers can expect. So without giving too much away, Jay, can you tell our audience about what the film is about?
Well, I mean, overall, it's about a punch in the gut, but I think that's relatable because we've all had a punch in the gut. So specifically in a health journey, it's about a young mom who has 4 beautiful children. She's a pastor's wife. On the outside, has it all together, and then life, throws a curveball. So like I said, it's a gut punch, without a doubt, but she's just such a captivating individual. She's just hard to not watch. Her name is Kara, and she's the young mom you'll be watching. So yeah.
It sounds like an incredible story. And Jay and I will be returning after the film to talk more about it. So please stick around for that. But I won't delay any further. Let's take a look at The Long Goodbye, the Kara Tippetts Story.
What if instead of being angry at life, what if you learned something of love today? What is it about each of us that withholds love, that holds it back, keeps it to ourselves, refuses to share it with our neighbors like we're supposed to? Why is it that we withhold love? Why?
A local mom is sharing her insight. We first told you about Kara Tippetts last night on 11 News at 10. She's the wife of a local pastor. Her story is going viral.
There's something that's just so deep about Kara. It's amazing the impact she's had on so many people's lives.
She has a voice that you want to listen to.
She is a blogger on mundane faithfulness.
She's deeply honest and authentic and raw.
Really, it's just hard to believe. I don't know how to explain it besides that.
Honestly, I had absolutely, positively no words.
You're watching KKTV 11 News.
To air one of our original stories when our Diane Derby sat down with Kara.
And so I thought, oh my goodness, for all the trivial things that I get freaked out about, Kara, you speak into my life.
So, ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Kara Tippetts?
Kara has impacted my life, even in pain and even in suffering. And that's hard to swallow, even though I know that there's good in her story.
I'm not disappointed in my story. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hi, I'm Kara Tippetts, and I feel so honored. So honored. I get to write moms and dads about how love never ends. I can beg moms to meet their children in love. I can ask husbands to live in kindness towards their wives. And I can say this love, these little moments of grace, this spending yourself in love matters. Thank you for inviting me to do this. I talked too long. I knew I would. You can edit me all you want. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
I'm Jason Tippetts. I'm 42. I'm married to Kara Tippetts. We have 4 beautiful children.
There you go. Scoot over.
Kara is very intelligent, very compassionate. She's very wise, fun to be around, gracious. I think what first attracted me to her was her smile.
I feel like I had a test or shock value. Like Brad, like legitimately met her first, and he's like, "There's this chick that smells like patchouli. We're going to a barbecue tonight." And
I love that.
Oh,
Did she invite you guys over?
Yeah.
Like automatically, that's her thing. Come over for dinner.
Yeah. I was like, "Well, she's a pastor's wife, not a hippie, honey." He's like, "Oh crap."
So right when you walked into her house, it just felt like home because it was her story. It was her family story. She wasn't worried about this picture-perfect home. You just loved being there because it was just a celebration of their lives.
When I think of Kara, I think of joy. I think of laughter. I think of family gathering, cooking in the kitchen.
I want more of what Kara Tippetts has. The first time I met Kara, she said, "Shelly, tell me your story." She wanted to know every detail. She asked questions unlike anyone else. Kara is a great question asker.
My name is Blythe, and I write with Kara on her blog, Mundane Faithfulness. I'm a guest blogger for her. Kara has been a sister to me in our friendship. Whoever is right in front of her, she loves, and she makes the center of her world in that moment.
Don't you feel like when you're with her, you're the most important person to her?
She's totally open and easy. So you can say something crazy, you can say something funny, and she gets you right away.
We all know I'm like her favorite, but you guys are exactly.
She makes everyone feel like
everybody.
Yes, she does.
I love that about her.
My name's Dennis. I'm Kara's older brother. Growing up, she was always the little girl that would follow my sister and myself around. One of the things I always remember growing up is that we had very little spoons simply because Kara was always digging in the dirt. My dad gave her the nickname Pigpen.
I am Kara's older sister. I am 3.5 years older than Kara. As I sit here and shoot this video, it makes me nervous because Kara used to always make fun of my voice. I can hear her laughing in the background.
I met Kara when she was 17 years old, and she came to the Grace Church Youth Group. I saw her from across the room, and I had no idea of the miracle that was happening.
I love to read. I love to be with girlfriends. I love entertaining and cooking. I love a fire. I like simple things. Two years ago, Jason was at work and I was cleaning the house. And I went to take a shower because we were going to go on a date that night. I decided it was time I needed to do a breast exam. And when I got in the shower, immediately I found a lump.
I think about when I came over, I thought we were literally just having coffee. And we sat on her deck and she said, "I found a lump and I just have a feeling it's not good."
That weekend, I talked to other women who had similar issues, and they all said it was a cyst. I had a cyst, and that's what you'll have too. And so I convinced myself that's what I'm going to have too. And by Monday morning, I was peaceful. Jason and I went to go get actually an ultrasound first, and we were laughing and joking in the room.
And we thought, oh, like this will be 2 hours, and then like I can go to work.
And the woman kept her little wand in my armpit the whole time. And I kept thinking, that's not where the lump is. And there was this big dark thing on the screen. And she said we had to stay for a mammogram. And Jason and I said, oh, we'll come back. And she got really quiet and walked out and left us there.
The radiologist, when he finally came into the room, he pulled up the thing that she was looking at my armpit and said, "That is your lymph node, and you probably have cancer. You need to go right now and get a mammogram." And then even then, we didn't believe it.
My grandma had breast cancer at a very similar age to Kara, and I just said, "Hey, it's gonna be okay."
I was dressed and I said, "Oh, we'll leave." And she said, "No, the doctor wants to come talk to you now." And we didn't think it worked like this, but he came in and said, "This is cancer." It was the most sobering, sad moment of our life. And we just walked out and sat in the car and cried.
We talk about sometimes what happened with Kara. She started a blog about parenting, and she was giving voice to what was happening with moms, their littles, and suddenly she entered cancer.
Kara was diagnosed with cancer in July of 2012. We asked to be as aggressive as we could with the treatment, and she spent 4.5 months doing chemo every 3 weeks, lost her hair, was in bed most of the time.
What do you think about mommy being bald, Story Jane?
It's okay. Don't pull me away.
I know, honey, I'm crying. Does it make you sad that I'm sad? No.
January 2013, she underwent a bilateral mastectomy, and they took out numerous lymph nodes in her armpit that were cancerous.
She has no history of breast cancer. Statistically, they say if you nurse for so many years, your rates cut in half. She nursed for numerous years with our 4 kids. She's eaten healthy. She was a vegetarian for 7 years. So I can't, there's nothing we can look back and say, oh, that's what it was.
Now you're bald.
No, I'm bald. That's the mama you get, huh? Bald mama.
She had reconstruction, and then in April, she did 45 treatments of radiation. After seeing the naturopath doctor, we switched our diet to more alkaline. She took a lot of supplements, changed our diet, even though Kara always, and still does, always eat healthy. We exercised through this as much as she could.
Where should I start, front?
We also lowered our sugar intake.
I wanted a video because I came home and all of this is flying away. It's coming out in big handfuls.
My mom's hair fell out because of chemo, I think.
I had really long, beautiful blonde hair, and I didn't realize how valuable it was to who I was until I lost it. It made me shy in a way I'd never been shy. For instance, I'd go into a grocery store and I'd look people in the eye and make friends with strangers. Well, now, if I look somebody in the eye, they would look down, ashamed that they had been staring at me. And so it just created this loneliness. It's Friday morning. I'm in bed. And they just called, and Tuesday morning I'll have my surgery to get my port back in. And a port is just a way for them to give big chemo drugs directly to your heart so that it doesn't collapse your veins. So what that means is that bigger drugs are coming, but I've done those. I know what they are, and I know that there'll be grace for us to walk in it. I know that I love today, and I have today to go love another.
Welcome back. We all know a stage 4 cancer diagnosis can leave little hope for recovery. But a Colorado Springs mom facing that reality is trying to teach others about living well even when life gets too hard.
They did a big trip as a family. The girls got their dresses and the boys got their Hawaiian shirts. and they went and they had a blast.
What's your favorite thing?
Snorkeling was fun. It's always fun today.
Snorkeling or the other one?
Oh, scuba?
No.
I like them both.
I say meet the back corner.
Snorkeling.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
How does 42 feel?
How's what?
42 feel.
It's pretty good.
Is that a good birthday?
Yeah.
Did you see any fish?
Yes.
Did you hear what Ellen and I saw? We saw turtles. Yeah, it was awesome.
In between treatments, they went skiing. They tried to live the best life that they could for their kids.
Hey, nice smile.
Cancer was this gift that exposed to us what is important and what's valuable. Parenting with kindness, loving your husband, living well.
Yes. I see you. And this is my mama. That's my mama's kiss to you.
Wait, you want a video of me? You got me? Can I tell what we're doing? Today we are at Winter Park skiing at Mary Jane, and we have been skiing on the Galloping Goose. And the kids are learning, and everybody's doing fantastic.
Kara before cancer was.
I got it. I memorized it.
Vivacious and amazing. And...
No, I answer it.
Okay,
You don't get
I
to.
was helping you.
She has always been very beautiful to me. I think her fun personality. She always loved whoever was in front of her. And people were just attracted to her.
You're talking about me in the past tense. We are just constantly hit with more and more test results and that are tough. And they got in the car and I was like, all right, kids, I've got 3 more places in my brain that have cancer. Let's turn on some loud music and dance.
Kara and I exhausted every resource in fighting her cancer, whether it was different types of chemotherapy, different types of hormone therapy, genetic testing, specific testing on her own cancer, naturopath doctor, getting a second opinion, all of those things.
We've stopped treatment. Cancer is in my bones, in my lymph system. You know, you do all of these treatments, you go through so much suffering, and you wait for that good report. And my good report never came.
Do you want us to let you rest?
Did you guys have dessert? We want to live honestly in our sadness, in our brokenness, and just walk this.
Well, good evening. Hey, y'all. I hail from the state of Tennessee. Honestly, Kara, to get to meet you, because I feel like you're my friend too. I literally, well, I love all your videos, but the one that you did were like, we're friends, and you're holding my CD up. You're like, we just haven't met yet. And I was watching it in my bed going, I know, we are. But I'm just gonna sing some songs and tell a couple stories. And just get to be here with you all night.
Roll away this stone. Roll away this sorrow. And take away this pain that I've been holding on to. Yeah. 'Cause I want to be like the children play in the breeze. Oh Lord, I want to be free.
My story is different than I imagined it. So I have to grieve the story that is.
That story is captured in her book, in which Kara reveals how cancer has somehow been a blessing.
As my love never ends, the love I pour in to my 5-year-old, my 7-year-old, my 10-year-old, my 13-year-old will last when they're 50, even if I'm not here.
And her book will be here. She's hoping the insights she's had facing death will bring new life to her readers.
Just can't believe that God granted me this opportunity to do this. That's my name. Backwards. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but that.
Anyway. I'm ready to send you to your room.
We've only dropped everything.
I think this is the lid.
That's a lid that may not.
I sometimes watch other moms who aren't thinking about the fact that they're dying. They're just going from event to event and driving from soccer practice to home to this, and I feel jealous of them.
That's why she works so hard to get at the heart of each of her children every night at dinner.
And we go around the table and ask each other what the best part of our day was, and just talk to each other and look each other in the eye.
Your choice now.
Harper. Best part of your day?
3.
What'd you do in PE?
Every night, I have a huge bottle of lotion. I go from room to room and rub their feet and try and capture some of their day. I ask my kids about how their life on the playground was, because that's where their life is lived.
I'm wondering what you want them to remember most about you.
I've thought a lot about that. I want them to know the essence of who I am.
Our last 2 years have been very stressful, not what I expected at all. Not even just church planting, but just being 42. I never thought that I would walk with my wife through 2 years of cancer treatment and then thinking through what it's gonna be like to live life without her.
My mom has cancer and she's had it for 2.5 years or 1.5 years. I don't really know, but she's had it for a while and now she's gonna have it for the rest of her life.
My son Lake is just all emotion. He's very kinetic and loves to be playing, and he loves to wrestle. It's his love language.
Hey! I made a patty!
What's it like to be my son?
Hard.
All the time?
Not really.
What's hard? Just that I'm sick.
Yeah.
In the beginning, we just decided to speak honestly and frankly with the kids. With the little ones, we told them I would be bald, and with the big ones who understand cancer, I told them I had cancer.
I got something in my hand.
To be discerning and not give them too much that their age can't bear. But all of them now know that Mom's dying and that I have cancer.
Ella gets to do school at home with me on Friday, so we are snuggled in my bed. I'm doing some work, and she is doing some work. Eleanor Grace, she's 13. She's taught me a lot about love and parenting. She's my firstborn. She is gentle and kind and needs lots of sleep.
Yes,
She does, actually. And she's just a beautiful daughter that has taught me the importance of living love large, I guess.
Sometimes Ella comes over, and I don't know how to parent a teenager, so for me, that's hard. I'm like, I have an 8-year-old boy that thinks boogers are funny. Ella, you want to talk about that? Yeah.
Eleanor Grace is just a delight. God knew what he was doing when he made her oldest. She's nurturing, she's compassionate, she's loving and gentle, and she's an amazing friend.
What do you think?
I agree.
She just really wants to be in Kara's vicinity right now. Like, I think that's her comfort zone right now. She knows those days are limited.
I'm gonna do this.
Harper Joy sonnet, but mostly goes by Harper Joy.
It's not it.
She's 10.
Harper Joy is full of energy. She is the loudest giggler, and she's always the last one to sleep. She's so much like her mom. She loves people, and she loves to know what's happening.
When is
Then
done?
play in the basement or outside.
Hello, it's Mommy here, interviewing. What's your name?
Story.
What's your middle name? Story Jane.
Story Jane is the baby, and there are benefits to being the baby. Oh my goodness, and she enjoys them all. She's a well-loved little girl who lives abundantly from the love of this whole family.
How old do you think you'll be when you get married?
12.
12 years old. And who do you think you will marry?
A boy in my class that I know.
What's his name?
Carson.
Carson. What do you like about Carson?
He always snuggles against me and loves on me.
Carson?
Each of my kids I treasure, I cherish them. They are the best of me.
Come here, sweet cheeks. Come on up, all the way up, little sugar.
Oh. Cancer has changed how I would be a mom. I fight for kindness.
It's good sugar.
In the way I live with my family, even when I don't feel good.
What do you think the best thing about being married is?
Having kids.
Oh, that is one of the very best things about being married.
You know, I can't drive, I can't hardly walk. I just fight for every corner of mom that I can get. We all want more time. We all pray for more time together. Yeah, telling each child was hard. It was uniquely painful for each story. And we told them each separately when I stopped treatment.
I don't want you to go.
I know. You wanna give me a big smooch here? 3. 1. Let me give you 3. Ready? Love you better.
That was actually 4.
Memories, they fade over time.
So where are we going?
Please know that I'm holding on tight to mine. Sometimes I still cry. I hate goodbyes. No more goodbyes. No more goodbyes. No more goodbyes. No more goodbyes. Memories, they fade over time. Please know that I'm holding on tight to mine.
We're all gonna die. Well, this is true. But we've been dealt some pretty hard blows. So as you sit healthy, looking at somebody who's not saying, well, we're all gonna die. I could go out and get in a car crash right now. It's kind of things kind of minimize what you're going through.
So I think I just hurt for you.
Yeah. It's the same with the double mastectomy. It's like I was never defined by being somebody who had large breasts or whatever, but then all of a sudden you lose the thing that you nurtured your 4 kids with, and it's just a game changer. It makes you just question everything, you know. Am I still female even? Because I had a hysterectomy too. It's like, who am I without hair, without breasts, without a uterus? Do I still have value? Mm-hmm. You know, part of going through chemo is you're instantly thrown into like really intense menopause. Mm-hmm. And you all at once go from being a 30-something-year-old to what you feel like an 80-year-old. And so you have to fight for intimacy, because you could easily say, oh, you know, but we did. We fought hard for that. We fought hard to remain close, to stay intimate. But it's certainly not simple.
Mm-mm. I agree. I think you did a good job of...
We did a good job.
Well, we did a good job.
You did a good job too, buddy.
Really?
Yeah.
You did too. So back to you did a good job. I feel like you did. You realized the importance of that for both of us. And
showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still very sexy to
It's
me.
one of those things, it's a funny word for you to say.
I know.
You know,
Sexy.
Sexy. Cool.
Hot?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
This is KKTV 11 News at 10.
A 29-year-old woman with a brain tumor is planning to end her life. You've probably seen this online. Brittany Maynard and her family moved to Oregon to take advantage of the state's Death with Dignity Act when she was told she only had 6 months to live.
I can tell you the amount of relief that it provides me to know that I don't have to die the way that it's been described to me that my brain tumor would take me.
Well, Brittany says it's a way to die with dignity, but a local mom who is also dying from stage 4 cancer, it has spread to her brain. She doesn't agree with her.
Kara felt very close to Brittany's story. She's also looking at a woman who's dying in the same way she is and felt compelled to reach out to her in any way that she could to get her to stop.
There is dignity in dying and suffering, even if she does it without taking this pill.
Today, Kara wrote a letter to Brittany asking her not to take her life.
She can live a dignified life, and that doctors who care about her dying can comfort her and walk with her in her dying, so she does die with dignity in the moment she's called to die.
When Kara talked to me about that story, she would text me messages, even as I was on air, just talking about how difficult it is to watch that story and how difficult it was to get the kind of response that she received. Because Kara's all about love. She's also very true to who she is, so she isn't gonna waver on that. And so watching Brittany die that way and choosing to end her life was very hard for Kara, and the backlash she got was hard for everyone to watch.
I think what's happened is she's been thrust into this spotlight. I would say that was very hard.
Her motivation was one of care and concern. It wasn't to berate Brittany for what she was doing. It wasn't to attack her in any way. She's all about wanting to support other people.
Other people are seeing how inspiring she is, but there's also the level of someone, you know, as people, there's something about watching someone suffering that's intriguing. But I think most of all, it's Kara's response to it.
Brittany's mom chose to write a letter back to Kara, and they chose to keep that message private, but I do know that it was positive.
There was one night I was struggling really hard. I had just gotten a new diagnosis, and I was laying in bed and crying through Philippians 1:21, which is to live as Christ and to die as gain. And I was just weeping through it. And I said, Lord, I don't know that I believe you when you say to die is gain. And it was this ever so clear answer of, oh, I've got that taken care of. Kara, do you believe it to live as Christ? And in that moment, I thought, oh, I don't know. I still struggle with my understanding of heaven, but then I also know that God has that taken care of far better than I could ever. I think all of us struggle. So whether it be I didn't expect marriage to be as hard as it was, or kids as hard as it is, in those edges, that's where we see our need for faith.
But it is hard. I mean, you're at this point in our life, this is not supposed to be the story. I think you're doing great. Even though you're sick.
The world says I should be angry, that I should be shaking my fist at God. I didn't think at 38 I'd be battling cancer, but I am. And so I need to find contentment in that place. I want to be able to share this story, that suffering isn't a mistake and it isn't the absence of God's goodness, because he's present in pain. I love you. I love you, reader. Thanks for sharing my story.
Thanks for not only buying my book for yourself, but for friends who need encouragement. And your words, your emails, they blow me away. Just blow me away. I've had a few interview contacts, and a magazine, By Faith, just came out where I'm on the cover. And then I'm just still plodding along, writing my other 2 books.
Care was always easy for me, always easy. And so my journey there to be part of her cancer journey was just a continuation of the commitment that sometimes when you meet people, you don't know where it's going to take you. Now with the second book, wherever you go, if there's Kara Tippetts, there's Kara Tippetts. So it's like being with someone famous.
No.
Oh, it is. It was like a miracle that suddenly so many people were listening. They were listening and paying attention to this young mom as she battled cancer.
Cancer has given me a credibility that I never expected to have. So knowing my own mortality, knowing that I'm dying, the sense that the love that I give will live beyond me, especially the love that comes from God. You know, as cancer finds new corners every day in my body, I realize it's all I've got. Jesus is all I've got. And not only is he all I have, he's all I have to give. And so that's my question to you. How today can you move past your own comfort, your own expectation of what today is to be or this week is to be, and let Jesus love you enough that that love spills onto somebody else? It's stunning.
She just had the words.
So, ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Kara Tippetts this morning? When did you decide you were going to actually write about this and say, here, let me tell the whole world my story?
Let me overshare. That's kind of funny. But I've always loved writing, and when we first moved to Colorado, I switched my blog title to Mundane Faithfulness to just begin to name where God shows up in my life. And right when I changed the title was when I got diagnosed with cancer. So it became the platform where I just started reminding myself and naming for the world how God was showing up for this one broken woman.
Yeah, the story, which has really led to a lot of people paying attention.
It is a shattered story, but each of these million shattered pieces are known and kept. God sees me, he knows me, and he knows your story without even telling it.
Because she is dying and she has lived through breast cancer, I think people do take her more seriously.
How do we pray for you right now?
I take any prayers.
Any prayers?
Any prayers.
She's not talking about these issues theoretically.
Dear Jesus, what a privilege it has been to be here at Grace.
She's living these things out.
He, for one here and now, chose the heights and the depths. True joy is felt when we walk through deep pain. Deep pain causes us to look upon the moments of joy with such gratitude.
Thank her for being with us today and sharing her life.
Thank you so much.
Well, people are gracious to come up and say kind things to me.
Well, it just, people are drawn to you.
As soon as you met my sister, it was an instant connection.
I'm humbled, thankful. I cannot believe today came, and I'm here to see it. In the back of my book, I ended with, I don't know if I'll be here for the day to see this book bound. And isn't God so good? I'm here. I know I'm fading, but I'm here.
Moving from treatment to hospice care is what I wrote about today. The transition.
The day we found out that they were calling hospice in, I had her kids with me when I got that text, which was heart-wrenching. But I went to drop them off, and I went and crawled up in bed with her, and I couldn't, there was nothing I could do. I mean, the tears came. I can't, you know, you can't help it.
recently we made the decision to stop treatment and enter hospice. Kara and I both had some level of trying to prepare ourselves for it, but it wasn't that we just thought hospice was the best choice. It was really, there was no other option.
She was like, oh, I'm eating again and keeping it down, and I have more pain. So it's like this, when I eat, the cancer grows. And I was like
she's feeding it.
She's like, I'm feeding it. Yeah, so true.
We learned, though, so much of how to suffer with people, I think.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah.
As horrible as that gift is, like, to be able to help people suffer. And be there with them.
It's quite amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
I could keep my suffering silent. I could choke down the pills and not express sorrow. Then I would have no need to celebrate my heights. The height of a good moment found on a bad day. So often those good moments come in the form of community, living in community.
Yeah, that little white thing with the cream in.
Somebody's here, Mickey. I think they're just coming in, though.
All right, come on in.
There were so many gifts that came into Kara's house. I was amazed how people loved her.
Oh, here you go. Got some chicken for you.
Wonderful.
Well, my support system is enormous. I have this huge network of people who are behind me and support me emotionally, spiritually, physically. And yet then there's a support system behind them. There's people who take seriously supporting my girlfriends and who help take them to coffee, make sure they're doing all right. They all are so important. You know, the people who bring food, and even, you know, the wives cook it during the day and the husbands will drive it at night. I mean, you just think all the layers of sacrifice that are made to support my family. It's humbling. It's so humbling. Your love matters today, friends. Your love extended to your kids, to your husband, to your neighbors, to strangers, to the lady at the grocery store, to the man that bags your food, to the person at the coffee shop. Your love matters.
That big table in her kitchen was never too small for a group of people. And she filled her house, and we had a big party.
That one is.
And a cherry on?
I'm crowding my table with my friends, and I'm tickled. It's my favorite to have people in my house.
This is life here. When she wasn't as sick as she's been lately, the ladies loved gathering here. This room represents who she is, and they find comfort being here, and they love it. They get to visit with each other, so if she feels like if she has to go to bed because she's tired, she knows they will continue to visit with each other and enjoy it in a grieving way.
My mentor just told me, she said, Kara, you need to write something or do something. People are worried, and I appreciate that because it's true. You guys love us so well. We had a tough week last week. My medicine's kind of messed up. I only have one giant pill. Yeah. And it made me throw up a few nights ago, so I called them and asked them to bring me smaller. Yeah. They haven't brought it yet, but it's coming, hopefully. Hey, Ann.
Who's here? Hi. It's difficult to watch someone who is vibrant and full of life start to fade a little bit.
Because lots of times in the midst of pain and suffering, doors get closed for very understandable reasons. But then the rest of us don't know what happens behind those closed doors, and it terrifies us. What will it be like when I get there or someone I love gets there? And Kara, in the midst of deep suffering and pain, opened her life up more.
You know, it's every day fighting for hope. And that, for me, that next place is getting closer. And to have hope in that, not despair. How was that prayer thing that you went to?
It was good. You know, Jonathan said, I don't know, should I go see Kara? And I said, yes, go see Kara. She would love it.
I think he's a little afraid of me.
I think so too.
Yeah. Am I scary?
No, you're not scary.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of you.
You better not be. You better not be. I think that dying by degrees, I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm here, but you guys don't get to see. You don't see all of who I once was, and that's okay. But I miss strength. I miss my strength.
And so the first summer I was up at camp, I met Jason one time, and he made me laugh, and he was just adorable. And the second time, I was coming around the lake, and I saw him from a distance. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that guy. But he's with a beautiful woman. I gotta pray her out of his life. Seriously, that's Mickey taught me that. If you all have met Mickey, she taught me that. And then I found out it's his sister.
As I read the Bible, I see that God is sovereign over everything. So I believe that he's God and there's nothing beyond him. So things that happen, he has his hand in. And I would also say, I don't understand it. So I don't know why this is happening to our family. I don't know if they'll ever know. And I don't think it's my calling to try to figure it out. I think it's my calling to just live faithfully in the midst of this.
The challenge of somebody with a disease is, you know, I know heaven is my home, is my destiny, and I know it is mine. But when I see my loves, I want to stay. So I just look to Jesus for hope.
So how do you feel like your love with Jason has changed over the last 2 years?
You know, I think you cherish things more. I mean, we know we only have so many left. I think it's this long goodbye that's hard.
Yeah.
Because as corners of me go, it's more responsibility on Jason. And so I grieve that too sometimes. He said someone was sharing how really loving God meant withholding nothing. I was on our bed looking at him. He looked at me and wept. I didn't need to ask him. I knew the deep question of his faith that was being asked. Would he open his hand and withhold nothing? Even me.
I see that your dynamic of your love with Jason has also deepened in a different way than if you were still at that level of doing all the time.
But it's hard when you don't feel like you have much value. What am I still here for? I struggle. Yeah. He's been gracious to me that I can still function and do the things I love. Consider your love story, or maybe the lack of one. How do you expect a human love story to save you where it cannot? What are the unfair expectations you place on that relationship?
I mean, we all envy that deep love that you exhibit between the two of you.
Maybe it appears that way because we're still in the busyness.
Stuff, but...
He's tired. He's a tired man.
Now to him who is able to keep you from stumbling and to present you blameless before the presence of his glory with great joy.
I wanted Jason to be able to save me and our marriage to be this beautiful landing place. And in a way it is. It still is. And yet Jason is not the one to save my heart. And I say this often, but as much as I love my dear husband, he cannot cure my loneliness. That is reserved for Jesus alone. I can't wait to see how Jesus' face looks at me when I go to meet him. You know, I know how I look at my kids and cherish them, and to think that he feels more than that towards me. You know, I think so much we think we're gonna see our mistakes or the shame or the things we've done wrong, and those just aren't there. Those aren't there in his face. And so I can't wait to see that.
I feel like
feel like some days, like, it won't, like, the crying won't stop. And you can talk about, and then other days you can talk about just life. Obviously, I get asked a lot about the kids and how they're doing and how you're doing and how I'm doing. And I can talk about it as if almost there's no feeling. And I sometimes wonder, like, has this just become so normal or mundane that, like,
Well, we have entered a normal patch.
Yeah.
We are entering a, you help drive, you drop off the kids, you're in a normal rhythm with my family right now.
And I love it. And we mesh so beautifully. And it fits so well. And I almost,
yeah.
So when people ask about your dying, what that looks like, I just can't picture what that will look like.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just can't go to that place of what those emotions look like when hearts are breaking and it feels like pieces that maybe won't be able to be picked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's days like this where it kind of feels good to have the emotions. It feels good to break and to cry and to feel like these are my people. These are people that get it, get the emotions of it. And who love our girl and love the kids.
I think there have been so many times. I didn't think I was dying, but I think everybody else thought I was at the end.
I think tears are so often associated with just deep sadness, and I think so much of this obviously is mixed with sadness, but it's just there's just such beauty in it all too.
Yeah. And I've gotten to be here longer than I think most of us thought I'd be here. And you can be in hospice for a very long time.
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought you got kicked out after 30 days. I did. If you didn't die,
You used up your
like you're in for so many days, and if you don't die, you're out. I thought that.
Did you enjoy this, Mom?
It was great. Did you have a good time?
I had a wonderful time. Of course I did.
I know. We needed it. Yeah.
I met Kara in 2014. She'd actually written a blog post about the show and our farm, and I had some friends send me the link to that and said, you've got to read this. And when I read it, it was basically her saying, you know, when I'm sick, I turn on this show called Fixer Upper. She had mentioned something about, I wish I could be with my kids and decorate the house for Christmas. Make her kids feel like this was, you know, a fun Christmas season. When I'd read that, there was just something in me right away that knew, you're going to this. So I grabbed two of my really good friends, and within 2 days, we were on a plane to go meet Kara.
My kids would rather me be home and save up all my energy to give to them than to be out worrying that if this is our last Christmas, that they'll have the perfect present. The perfect present is that I'm here.
Even when you're fully healthy, it's hard to keep your house clean with 4 kids and everything else going on. But for her, I could just tell it was overwhelming. And so I just really wanted to take that time to just help organize their house, put things together so it seemed in the midst of all the chaos going on, there was this peaceful retreat for her, Jason, and their babies.
We're hanging in there. It's hard. We need your prayers. Tonight is West Side Church's dance party. When does it start?
6:30.
At 6:30.
Stretching at 6:15.
I don't get to go. And I'm disappointed because last year was the highlight of the holidays for me. Dancing with all the people that I love. I know you will miss my smoke and dance moves.
That's true.
Will you dance, even if I can't be there?
I will dance, yes.
You promise?
Yeah. Probably less than
if I were there.
If you were there.
I don't think you can adequately convey pain that a family is going through unless you're in that moment with them. And to watch her husband, I just remember feeling for her husband and feeling for her children so much while we were there, and thinking about that one day they're gonna lose their mom, one day he's gonna lose his spouse, and thinking, how do you go on?
Are you scared about your life without her?
Yeah. You know, being married for 15 years, I don't know how you, I don't know what life looks like after that.
You guys crying a lot lately?
Every chance I get. No,
The box of Kleenex.
Yeah, well,
On your kitchen table.
There's no accident that there's Kleenex all over my house, but yeah, of course. And I think at unexpected times.
Yes.
I try not to cry when I'm with her.
Me
And I don't know why.
Me either.
Because
I
I've
feel
told
like I'd be
her.
stone cold.
Have you told her that before? That you tried to protect your.
Like I said, like I use that like 3-minute walk home to be like, you know, like, and I'm like, sometimes I'll have to do an extra lap around the block, you know.
And sometimes there's almost this weirdness when you don't cry.
Well, yeah, but I sent her a text and said something one day about, I did really good. I didn't cry at all. And she said, oh, girl, your tears are meant to be shared.
It's just a weird.
It is weird.
Just hits you at weird
I think that's what grief is, though, isn't it? I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it a lot of times.
I like your Uggs.
Thanks. They were my Christmas present from Jason. I have real clothes on today instead of pajamas.
That's right.
The kids are going to be surprised when they get home from school.
Yeah.
Mom, why are you wearing clothes? Be a surprise to them.
You know, it's the little things of her being able to wake up every morning and get out of bed. But there were months that wasn't an option. And so seeing her come downstairs and talk to the kids and be frustrated with the kids like a normal mom is, I appreciate those things.
The doctor says it's a plateau, and we can enjoy this plateau for a while, and then it'll fade.
Seems like there's always something that has shown up so far and gives you that gift of another day. A little bit longer time with your kids.
But I'm enjoying it while it lasts.
Yes.
Answer to the prayer of more time.
I learned what trust truly meant walking this journey with Kara. She had to really face a big trust. She was a stage 4 cancer patient with 4 little children and a husband that was just starting his ministry. She had to trust that God was going to show up for them when a mama couldn't. You almost have Story's birthday coming up.
I know. Story's gonna be 6. When this all started, she was 3. And my prayer was that she would have so much time that she had her own memories of me. And I remember being 6. I remember being 5. So I think she's very much gonna remember her mommy.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah. She's an attached little girl.
Yes.
To her mama. April 25th, we'll celebrate big in some girly fashion.
You could still be here for Ella's in June, you know.
I could. I would love to be. I'd love to see her turn 14. So, but we do think that maybe I will be here for the summer. May 16th will be my 17th anniversary.
I remember that day well, too.
I know you do. I remember that day well. So, I could see those 3. Who knows what I'll get to see? Who knows how many days I have left?
That's right.
The hardest trip that I can remember was her last trip. And that was just with my sister and her husband. And they went knowing that my sister only had a few weeks left.
How ostentatious. So I don't need my wheelchair.
We are in Solana Beach, California, at Claire's restaurant, which is a restaurant Kara likes a lot. I'm gonna put it over here just in case.
It's hard to get here. It's almost like traveling with a newborn. You have your wheelchair, you have to manage your medicine, manage your pain, manage your nausea. It's nerve-wracking to wonder, could I make it? Could I make this short 2-hour flight? But we managed it. It's been really good. We've been more mellow, but our room is beautiful. We spent a lot of time in the room, listening to the ocean, reading books. I brought some poetry to read, actually. Valentine's Day.
It looks good to you.
I think I might get salmon Benedict.
I was thinking of that too.
And then a lemon ricotta pancake on the side.
It was such a precious moment because before that, my sister was bedridden and she was not able to get up. And, you know, by the grace of God, she found this burst of energy and she was able to go with Jason and spend a weekend. And she was in so much pain, but the memory is just a memory that will last for Jason's lifetime.
So I do know this is it for me. This is my last getaway.
Jason. That's what always came up with Jason. How much she loved him, how sad she would be to say goodbye, what he would do when she's gone.
Oh, I'm so glad we came. We needed this. We needed to talk. We needed to cry. We have a lot of memories in San Diego. This is where we first fell in love.
We started a date. We walked on the beach and spent a lot of time in the beaches in San Diego.
My heart is full. My husband has loved me well, and I have a great husband. And I have been given a good life because I've known this man. I've been given a great life. I've known love and acceptance and care because of him. He's been the best part of my life.
I think it's similar to when we were in Hawaii, where it made me really sad seeing all these people celebrating their firsts, and we were celebrating something else. No, I feel that's a similar, like, in a way, we're trying to live the best and celebrate the last.
Yeah. Well, an eternal perspective shows you that there's more than this place, that this is just a stopping ground, and that this isn't my forever home. And I can look with confidence at my husband and say, this isn't it for us. I'll see you again. And that it won't be long.
I'll see you again. I'll see you again. Our time is at an end, but I'll see you again someday. I'll see you again. I'll see you again. Our time is at an end, but I'll see you again someday. Yes, it's the greatest story. someday.
I realize it's been a long time since I've videoed here. I'm back in hospice care. Mickey's here taking care of me. I've come to see my walk as more like a stumble. Jason and I are just stumbling through. Lungs are a little weak, but I'm doing well.
You got it?
Yeah. Yeah, my lung capacity just isn't strong. When going up the stairs just it takes it all out of me. And it just shows, you know, I have moments where I feel strong, I look normal. But it's those moments that show me how weak I really am and how kind of feeble I am. But it's discouraging, but it's also reality, so. Let me catch my breath first. Yeah, it's gonna take me a minute to be able to breathe. So I have the kids coming home in a little bit, so I have things I look forward to. Hey, Mickey? Nanny? Mickey? Could you come bring help me with my oxygen? Yeah. I just got real wheezy coming up the stairs.
Did it wind you coming up the stairs?
Yeah. You know, I just want to be strong. And that's not in the cards for me right now. And so when you see your weakness, it can be discouraging. I let myself be discouraged. I let myself be sad sometimes. Well, I think it's part of just being authentic and walking this truthfully, that it's not all easy, and that's okay.
Just in case.
Oh, my blanket, love. And it shows me that I'm needy, and when you're needy for something, and I'm so needy for Jesus to help me walk with me through these last days, these last moments. And so when I see that neediness, I'm not discouraged. Is it cool in here?
It does feel a little cool.
And maybe open the door.
I think I'm afraid. I think I'm most afraid of my absence. I feel like I'm a little girl at a party whose dad's asking her to leave early, and I'm throwing a fit. I'm not afraid of dying. I just don't want to go.
I think that what Kara has given us in her dying and in being open about dying is the gift of believing.
Most of the people who follow my story do not have any chronic illness that want to be reminded, what if that was my story? I need to appreciate today as much as possible.
Kara is I call my rock, and she's always been there for me. Seeing her give back to people and to write her book has inspired me. It's just been unconditional love that she's given me, so she's shown me what love is.
Kara's voice got clearer and stronger and more blazingly brilliant as the rest of her faded away.
I write a lot about where in Philippians it says abound more and more in love. And so what does that look like? What does that mean to abound? So if we're supposed to love more today than we did yesterday, we have to get uncomfortable. We have to move past our own comfort of what we think love is and begin to press into other relationships, other people, and get uncomfortable and love big. We're all dying, I just know it.
I just am told it every day that I'm dying. I get to, in my knowing of my death that's coming, cling to Jesus in a unique way. And I hope my story causes somebody else to desire to cling to him as well.
Kara naturally wants to give and give and give, even though I know that there's good in her story. The selfish part of me wants to keep her here for as long as possible because I miss her already.
There's a lot of denial that happens because I don't want her to leave. I don't want her kids to be without her. I don't want Jason to be without her. I don't want this world to be without her because she genuinely makes the world a better place.
You know, it's our great and high calling to give and to be generous of spirit, of heart, of finances. Give your story away. Share your suffering with others. We live so well in America. We live so well. And yet, we still live in this idea that we all have to win and be better, instead of realizing that contentment and knowing Christ is the goal. And from that contentment, we can be such generous people. I know I've got cancer. I know I'm gonna die of it. But I also know that I have today, and in this today, I get to live well.
This is KKTV 11 News at 10.
A Colorado Springs mother of 4 that so many of you knew or followed on Facebook has died. Today, Kara's husband, Jason, wrote on her Facebook page and said she, quote, passed into glory this afternoon. She was always overwhelmingly gracious, a wonderful mother, and a dear friend to many.
It wasn't many days ago that Jason and Kara were looking at each other, and that topic came up of kindness. How many husbands are in this room here? Raise your hand. How many husbands? There's a lot of you. How many men are in this room? Come on, raise your hand if you're a man. Thank you. There's a verse of scripture that says what's desired in a man is his kindness. And Jason said to Kara that you have been so kind. And Kara said to Jason, you have been so kind to me. Grabbed him by his woolly beard that his sisters want to cut off. I don't know if you knew that, but they're going to shave you before you're done here. And so that kindness that was going between them, and it was Jason who said, you taught me. You taught me how to be kind.
You'll have to forgive us if we have days or weeks where we are unlikable in our grief. This is only because we liked you so very, very much. Death may have lost its sting, but it still burns. And we press on here in the strange beauty of sadness.
When I learned that Kara had passed away, I sat in my car and I cried. I'd cried like I'd known Kara since I was a young child. It felt like we were, friends from a long time ago, and that's the impact she had on everybody.
It's great to be here with Kara's best friends because I know you're all Kara's best friends. If you go up to half the women here, they're gonna say, but I really am.
I was in an airport when I heard that Kara passed. And all I kept thinking as I was walking to my gate was, I want to fly to Kara. I want to fly to Kara.
My heart and flesh sing for joy to the living God. Even the sparrow finds a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young at your altars. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the one who trusts in you.
Kara has such a way of being comfortable in the uncomfortable, expressing the love of Christ, the trust, the hope in Christ. And she, at the end of the last interview, grabbed my arm after it was all over and just said, can you make sure my kids know it's okay to cry? And I'll just leave you with this scripture, kids, because it's meant so much to me as that 9-year-old boy. And that is, he's close to the brokenhearted, and he saves those who are crushed.
There was an understanding from myself and Kara that I would start a foundation to continue her legacy and to help others. And Kara really inspired me to do this.
So what is death? Here's what Paul says death is. Death is the removal of the perishable to taking on of the imperishable. It is a transition from the mortal to the immortal. And that's why death could not rob Kara of her joy. It could rob her of her body, but it could not steal her joy. Right now, Kara is enjoying the smile of God. She is the most at peace she has ever been. Think of her happiest moment on earth, multiply it. Think of her radiant smile, magnify it. That is where Kara is today. Let me close with Kara's own words from her book. She wrote this when she knew death was coming, but there still seemed to be some hope. She says, I limp along at efforts of quieting and slowing my cancer. I made my pie without sugar, as if that effort would keep cancer away. We know it's worse than that, but it feels good to do something. The stomaching of endless pills feels proactive, and I find myself hopeful in a good outcome. But my hope is not in a cure today. My hope is not in the absence of suffering and comfort returned. My hope is in the presence of the one who promises never to leave or forsake, the one who declares nothing can separate you from my love, nothing. Amen.
Do you love that word, enjoy? I love that word, enjoy. The call on my life is to love God and enjoy Him forever.
What my sister was able to do was to inspire people, brought more people back to Christ, and she did that in a loving way.
And so if you are ready for your life to overlap another, ask somebody, how's your heart?
You know, I originally met Kara because she was a fan of our show, but in the end, it became something where I was a huge fan of Kara's.
Still, he thought, looking out across the meadow, still, the joy would be worth the pain.
I love that she saw herself as a grace hunter. That's what she looked for all the time. All the graces that showed up moment by moment by moment to her last moment.
You love as well as you're willing to be inconvenienced. And I think lots of times we say, I love you. But there's no cost to that love. There's no inconvenience to that love. I grieve for Jason and for the children. But I want to live a legacy of love like Kara did.
I wish I could say more to her. And that whatever happens, we'll be okay.
And their story is good. It's not simple, it's not pain-free, but it is good.
A lot of people ask me, am I sad? And of course I'm sad that she's not here anymore. But I'm so thankful that I got to be her sister.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up, even when it's hard, and you know that I'm gonna make you cry. I don't know why, but I know I can trust Him. Thank you for sharing my story. Thank you.
Kara.
Hi, Jay.
So this is Kara. I'm Jay. I'm doing a documentary on Kara, Jason, and the family. How do you feel about that?
Good. I love what you do.
Thank you. And it's been my pleasure and honor to work with Kara and Jason and the family. And stay tuned for more good stuff.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Jay.
I'll see you again. Our time is at an end, but I'll see you again someday. I'll see you again. I'll see you again. Our time is at an end, but I'll see you again someday. I'll see you again someday.
Brokenness and scattered dreams, the ache I'm feeling. All of this pain I see makes me long for Eden. A beautiful promise, the hope I hold on to that keeps me pressing on. Someday all of our tears will be washed away and we'll suffer no more, and by God's grace we'll stand and sing hallelujah. Caught up in that moment, to know it all was worth it. When I look into the eyes of my Savior and precious Lord, overcome by emotion for all He has done for you and me. That's where we'll be. Someday all of our tears will be washed away and we'll suffer no more, and by God's grace we'll stand and sing hallelujah. And we'll suffer no more. We'll stand and sing hallelujah. We'll sing hallelujah. Someday.
I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong. I'll be satisfied as long as I walk. Let me walk close to thee. Where my feeble life is
Just a closer walk with thee.
and time for me will be no
Just a closer walk with thee.
Guide me gently, safely, oh, to thy kingdom, kingdom shore, to thy shore, yeah, yeah. Just a closer walk with
Just a
thee,
closer walk with thee.
and granted, Jesus, 'tis my plea. Oh, daily walking close to thee, yeah, let it be, dear Lord, 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 let it be.
Welcome back. We hope that you enjoyed the film The Long Goodbye, The Kara Tippetts Story. My name is Josie Luetke, and with me right now is Jay Lyons, the director and one of the producers of the film. So Jay, just to start, I want to talk a little bit about your role as a filmmaker. I thought it was really cute how one of Kara's daughters is named Story Jane, and one of Kara's friends mentioned when they first met, Shelley and Kara, Kara told Shelley, tell me your story. And I feel like that's kind of what you do as a filmmaker, Jay, is you tell stories. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about why you think it's important to tell our stories and why specifically you chose Kara's story to tell.
Okay, so why I think it's important to tell stories is because everybody has a story. So my background is in reality television. So I produce a lot of unscripted, they're called docu-follows for like MTV or TLC, and all the major networks. And I just really enjoy telling people stories. And what I've recently done with my wife and our new company is we started to want to have more control over how those stories were portrayed. Because a lot of times, you know, you just don't have a lot of the control in the edit and stuff when you're working for a large organization. So Kara's story just fell in our laps. I saw a Facebook post, believe it or not, of a high school friend who said, pray for my pastor's wife. She has cancer. And it had been on my mind for a long time to tell a story about death, which sounds morbid right off the bat. It's like, wow. And it's not for everybody, but it is for a lot of people, especially for people who are dealing with that. Whether it's a mother or themselves or a grandmother or a sister or a brother with cancer or some kind of tragedy. I mean, we all kind of we're one step away from that story. So I had wanted to tell a story about death and dying, especially from an eternal perspective, a Christian, a follower of Christ. You know, we have a different perspective. It's not like we embrace death or want to die, but we have a different view on that. So I had long wanted to tell that story. And then when I saw that Facebook post, I contacted my friend and I asked her if Kara would be interested in just, you know, maybe striking up a conversation. And she was, and Kara had already been blogging a lot. and had just recently been featured. Some of her articles had gotten some publicity. So then my wife and I went out there and met her, and we did a short thing, and that turned into a big documentary. But Kara's story is one, basically the short answer is Kara's story needed to be told. You feel like that when you meet people, that some people's stories just has to be broadcast to the world. And so we used our talents and my skills and my background with documenting, reality shows to tell Kara's story.
And I'm so grateful that you did. And as you said, this is a film about death. And I think that as society has progressed and as life expectancy has been extended, I think a downside of that is we've become sort of insulated from the realities of death and uncomfortable with it. And I think that actually could be one of the reasons for euthanasia is an attempt to exert some sense of control over that final passage. And I also think that because of this discomfort, the very least we can do is talk about it. So what did you learn about death and dying from having gotten to know Kara personally?
Well, what did I learn? Now, I learned a lot. And I will say one question a lot of people ask is, did you cry or were you emotional making this when you were with her? So I'm the one who was there filming with Kara. I'm what's called a shooter producer. And a lot of times for these documentary type pieces that are true to life, you don't have a big crew, you have a small crew. So my wife and I are there. I'm holding the camera. So I knew Kara and her husband and her children. They're amazing, wonderful, awesome people. I'm the one who knows them and have the relationship. So there's a lot that we learned from Kara. But I didn't cry when I was there. I cried later in the edit, just after she had passed away, and you're just kind of realizing that the true sadness, it is sad, but there's also a lot of hope. So honestly, what I learned is to have fun and to have hope and to enjoy the life that you do have. I mean, we could all sit around and think about death, and maybe the people who are watching have been, confronted with death or through some, and we all will, but I don't think we're supposed to live like that. So we're supposed to enjoy our life and be joyful, especially as Christian people and followers of Christ. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, and peace. So Kara taught me a lot about just loving life and enjoying the journey. You hear about that. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. So that means that there's joy in every day in the little things. That's what true happiness and joy is enjoying those little things. One thing that she did with her husband is they had coffee together, and that was one of her most special times. And you would think, oh, it's not a vacation in, France or, whatever, or writing her book, that she released her book and it sold really well. One of her most precious things was like rubbing lotion on her kids' feet at bedtime, or having coffee with her husband, just a simple little thing. So that's where the true joy is. And she had a saying about mundane faithfulness, that's what it was. It's faithful in the mundane stuff. So I know it's a long answer, but I learned a lot from her, but it's to really be grateful for every day. This is the day that the Lord has given us, and to rejoice and be glad in it, no matter where we are in our journey of what stuff looks like, because that stuff does look messy. You look around and you see mess internally, emotionally, externally, but we have to focus on the positive and the joy. So that was a lot of rambling. I hope that answered your question.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it ties in really well with my next one, which is that the theme of the National March for Life this year is I am. And I think the film and Kara really embody that theme very well. I really like how you contrast Kara's prayer for more time and her treasuring each day, as you described, and Brittany Maynard's desire to shorten her life by hastening her own death. And it's really clear from the film how Kara tried to be present for her family, even as she was fading, as she neared death. So I'm just wondering, what do you hope the audience takes from this film in terms of how to incorporate that same outlook into their own lives?
Well, one of her most profound sayings that Kara had was, suffering isn't the absence of God's goodness. So it's worth repeating. suffering isn't the absence of God's goodness. I think we live in a world and to where we want to avoid suffering. We want to avoid all kinds of suffering, whether it's emotional or physical. It's just completely, we just can't deal with that. And I'm not saying I want suffering to fall on people. I don't, of course not. But suffering is inevitable. And so when we have suffering in our life, it's not the absence of God. God didn't leave us because we're suffering. And, the Bible says that he's close to the brokenhearted. So I think that's what Kara embraced, and that what her message was is that no matter what you have going on, he's actually closer to us when we're suffering. So Kara didn't choose her story. She wasn't happy that she got breast cancer. She wasn't happy that it wasn't like that. She wasn't like, oh, wow, it was a struggle every day. And one thing that I learned as well is she said, I let myself be sad. So some days, she let herself be sad, and that's okay. But other days when she wasn't sad, she was joyful and full of love. So I think that's pretty much it. Suffering isn't the absence of God's good. And that takes a lot of time to wrap your head around, because we think, oh, suffering, God's left me. I'm doing bad. I made a wrong decision or whatever, and sometimes our suffering is our own doing, but other times it's not. So it's pretty complicated. It's not an easy topic, but I hope that answers your question.
Yes. And that is one of the messages that I really liked from the film, is that possibility of finding meaning in suffering. I loved how the community rallied around her and provided accompaniment to Kara while she was suffering, and how she used her own unique experience to be able to help others like Brittany Maynard to urge her not to give up. So obviously we're not all dying of terminal cancer, but we all have our unique suffering in life. And I think that
she said, so excuse me to interrupt, but this is perfect. She said, this is what Kara taught me the most. Kara was dying, but she taught me how to live.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. And that's a lesson that, a lot of us are not going to learn until we are dying ourselves. And so we need to be able to hear stories like this one so that we can make the most of the time that we have right now.
Right.
So final question, for those who want to rewatch the film or recommend it to friends or family members, where can they watch this film after this evening?
It's on Vudu, it's on Tubi TV. It's available on DVD on Amazon and all Christian retailers like Mardel, etc. So thanks for watching.
Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciated your time. I really appreciated this discussion, and just God bless, and please keep up the great work.
We will. We have a lot of great new projects in the works.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Be sure to join us for our next Life on Film screening next week on Sunday, May 1st. We will be screening The Matter of Life, a journey to unravel the complexities of the abortion issue through science, philosophy, history, and powerful personal stories. The film answers hard questions and provides hope for the future. The creator of the film, Tracy Robinson, will be with us sharing more about the why behind this incredible film. You won't want to miss it. Please tune in next week for The Matter of Life. And a big thank you, as always, to our sponsors for making this Life on Film series happen. I wish you all a very good night.
the past 2 years, it seemed our lives were at a standstill. Everywhere, we were trying to protect lives in the face of a pandemic. But not everywhere. While we were studying or working from home, 300 preborn lives each day were ended by abortion in Canada. In fact, abortion, the killing of an innocent child in the womb, was considered an essential service during the pandemic. It's time to re-engage for the right to life. On Wednesday, May 11th, the day before the National March for Life, young people from everywhere will make a pilgrimage to St. Mary's Church in Ottawa for I Am the Pro-Life Generation, the National March for Life Youth Summit, with keynote speakers David Scotton, whose inspirational story of adoption will be told in the new motion picture, Lifemark.
Is that your birth mom? She wants to meet.
Really?
I'll be sharing with you a story very personal to me that I hope will inspire you to keep up your work and to keep up your efforts.
And Emily Albrecht, a speaker, writer, and coach with the Equal Rights Institute, whose talks about pro-life apologetics have been heard by thousands all over North America.
So I'll be there teaching you about the single most persuasive pro-life argument, the argument that has changed more pro-choice minds than any other argument my team has ever seen.
The afternoon will also feature dinner, praise and worship, and optional adoration and mass, followed by a candlelight procession to the vigil at the Human Rights Monument in downtown Ottawa. Register for just $20 at marchforlife.ca. It's time to re-engage. Together, we can make abortion unthinkable. Everywhere.
I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
For 25 years, the National March for Life has been the nation's premier pro-life event.
I am choosing life for my baby.
Uniting hundreds of thousands of Canadians in Ottawa and around the nation who stand for life, while challenging our legislators to enact legal protection for Canada's most vulnerable.
I am deserving of assisted living, not assisted death.
On May 12th, Canadians will gather peacefully on Parliament Hill for a rally and march through the streets of Ottawa in defense of life at all stages.
I am deserving of care until my natural end.
The National March for Life.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
Because existence is always enough.